Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sobacksports podcast. And today we have a special guest, Guy Walker, here from CNG Podcast, and we're here to just talk about some Bears football. So, Guy, welcome to the show. And yeah, you want to do a little introduction?
What's going on, everybody? This is G Walk from the CNG podcast right here. I will be on camera shortly. I'm hooking my boy Amrith up. So give me a second. I will be on camera so everybody can see us, see him. So I'm tagging a couple of people from Bears Nations to pull up to my boy show. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, before we get into the rest of the podcast, obviously, please do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. We're about 4 subscribers away from the 600 milestone. So feel free, if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe and comment down below what you guys think the Bears should do in free agency, because that's going to be a big conversation point in this podcast episode. So again, thank you, Guy, for showing up today on last minute notice as well. But yeah,
No problem, bro.
let's get to it. So what are your thoughts so far on the moves that we made? Because I guess we can kind of go through like the individual uh, players that we had, like got like Jonah Jackson for a 6th round pick, Joe Tooney for a 4th round pick in 2026, Durham Smith from Miami. Like there are a bunch of moves that have already happened, and the tampering period hasn't happened yet. So which one of these three moves is like your favorite of them all?
My favorite of them all has to be the 4-time Pro Bowl, 4-time NFL Super Bowl champion Tunney, man. And we
Heck
finally
yeah.
got a leader on this offensive line, bro. A guy that's proven. Yeah, I'm gonna be on camera in a second, Brian. Just give me 1 second. That's one of my guys on Facebook. But I'm hype
Yeah.
about the Brian because he's a leader. He's won on all levels. He's played with
Mhm.
Tom Brady. He's played with Pat Mahomes. He knows what's going on the offensive line. So we got a leader, man. So I'm hyped for that.
Yeah, like it says, like it adds to our center and will be much better, 100%. And we're gonna get to Drew Dahlman potentially being a Chicago Bear very soon. And yeah, I cannot agree with you more because when I woke up that morning, and I saw the Joe Tooney news, I had to like take a double take because Joe Tooney wasn't even on the market at the time, like, or at least because the whole media was focusing on Trey Smith and how what he gonna do in free agency. Obviously, the Chiefs ended up tagging him, and it ended up being a non-factor for what the Bears are going to be doing in free agency. So the fact that we got Tooney, who won, like you said, at all levels, and won 4 Super Bowls, has experience working with essentially the two best quarterbacks right now in all of football right now, which is kind of says
I'm
a
going to go
lot.
hop on camera. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. Which says a lot about what joining Caleb Williams is like. Because hey, listen, so far Tom Brady is the goat. Um, Patrick Mahomes is going to be, the coming of the GOAT. And what does it mean for Caleb Williams very on? So, and I 100% agree. Tooney, very smart guy when it comes to, blocking. I saw a lot of like breakdown of his abilities, and it's very impressive to say the least when it comes to like his ability to block and kind of check out stunts within the defense and recognize key formations and whatnot. So it it truly is one of the moves that I'm really happy about. And uh, oh, we got him. We got him on camera now. Let's go.
What's up,
Um,
man?
Heck yeah. So yeah. Uh, Besides Tooney, do you think that still a chance that the Bears might possibly go for Trey Smith still, or is it? Do you think that like everyone, it's pretty much over at this point now that we got Tooney?
I just think it's a done deal, man. I think once we saw that they were going to try to pay him, I think it was over. And I have to give credit to Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson having a B plan. Like sometimes your A plan doesn't work, and if you got a B plan or a C plan, that could be just as good. So the fact that they didn't wait on Trey Smith and wait for that contract situation to develop, because once you got to realize this, now it's a contract negotiation. You know what I mean? Like, do Brian Poles and Ben Johnson, do they really want to just wait all day, all season long, and wait on him to get this contract done? No, like we got to keep it going. We got to keep it moving. So I think it's a done deal. nothing wouldn't surprise me at this point, the way the Bears have been moving. But the fact that we already got one of their Super Bowl champions and one of their pillars from their offensive line, I think that's good enough. Like, you got someone from that Kansas City offensive line, bro. So you got to just be happy and count your wins and count your blessings when you can, because you might not get Trey Smith, but we got the next best thing in Tunney, which is not a bad thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it just gives, you got to give credit to Ryan Poles where credit is due. I've been very critical on him, and I think a lot of Bears Nation has been critical on him in the last couple of years, especially this past season with the horrendous 10-game skid that we had. And the question on everyone's mind is, can Ryan Poles, who is a former offensive lineman, create an offensive line or curate an offensive line that can protect Caleb Williams and his future, because he is indeed the future of the franchise. And this is a great sign for what's to come, because the fact that we got Jonah Jackson, which was the first move of free agency, pretty solid player, injury history a little bit, but we only gave up a 6th-round pick for him, which kind of gave some red flags a little bit. Again, it's like, oh, here we go again with the 6th-round picks. But then out of nowhere, the next day, bang, Ryan Poles out of a sudden, obviously with probably the input of Ben Johnson, said, okay, we're going to make some splashes now so that, going into free agency and then eventually going into the draft, we have a lot of wiggle room to, utilize our picks more freely than go with the only offensive lineman at number 10. So yeah, you make very good points as well. I completely agree with, not settling and hoping and waiting for Trey Smith. So 100% agree with that. But I also want to go into some moves that kind of happened. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, Jonah Jackson, has injury history a little bit, especially last year with not playing that many games with the Rams, and eventually got let go. So, with this being the first move for the Chicago Bears, I just wonder, what are your thoughts when it initially happened, and do you think that the Bears need to do more in terms of depth to be able to put the injury concerns to rest?
Well, when they first got Jonah Jackson, I thought it was a good move because, one, Ben Johnson wants to get somebody that's familiar with the system. Two, you don't overpay for a guy like Tevin Jenkins, who we've all seen him be pretty much unhealthy for the number of years of his career. So the smart thing was to be cheaper and get someone familiar with my system on my offensive line. That right there is smart. Get you someone that that you played with, even though he has injury history, but that's probably like a one-off, because when he was in Detroit for 2 years, he was healthy. Then when he got to the Rams, they put him at center. He's not a center. Then he got hurt. So you put him back in this position as a guard, then you come in probably with a year being healthy, he's going to be a problem. As far as your question about getting more depth, you always want to get more depth on the offensive line. You want to stack the depth. You don't want to start your new regime off with all draft picks, like you said. You want to get some guys that's done it before. You want to get some guys that's familiar with your system and Ben Johnson's system. So the fact that they went out there, okay, we got Jonah Jackson. He played with it. He was under Ben Johnson. We got a Super Bowl champion in Tunney, 4-time Super Bowl. He's played with Pat Mahomes, and he's played with Tom Brady. So they're putting the nucleus together to where you can have veterans on your team. Then you bring in the young pups that can learn behind them.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's, I think, what adding Ben Johnson and his input can really help Ryan Poles. And I think having Matt Eberflus and even going back to Matt Nagy with Ryan Pace, there wasn't any input properly, and there was some lack of communication between the head coach and the GM for what kind of personnel did they want. Because obviously Matt Eberflus is going to want his personnel, because he was a linebacker and DB's coach. So he will focus on the getting his linebackers that he wants and the DBs that he wants, which in our case worked out, because we have pretty solid DBs and relatively decent linebackers as well. But when it comes to the D line and all that, that's not his forte, it seems, because clearly this dude doesn't know how to blitz or when we really need him to. And we only got Montez Sweat when it was a dire need by the trade deadline. And that's goes without saying, not addressing that offensive line due to the fact that you have a defensive-minded head coach is a detriment to whether it was Justin Fields or, in this case, for the first year, Caleb Williams. So very good points all around. I think that, getting Jonah Jackson for a relatively cheap contract, having him have that rapo with Ben
Ben Johnson.
Johnson
Yeah.
is very crucial. And I think Ben Johnson, that's the theme of his staff, and that's the theme of his team in general. Bring up guys that he knows and guys that he sees potential in and can develop further. So yeah, I really like that move as well, especially for the picks that we only had to give up. And going back to Joe Tooney, like, we only gave up a 2026 fourth round pick.
Yeah,
so
next year's draft.
Yeah, exactly. So like the fact that we didn't have to give up this year's pick, and we in a draft class that has a ton of like talent when it comes to skill position is very, very crucial. And I saw a bunch of like Chiefs fans react like to the move, and a lot of them say like, yeah, it was kind of bound to happen because it was either between paying Trey Smith or Joe Tooney. And Trey Smith is obviously a lot younger. Tooney has been in the league. Tooney has been in the league for like I don't know how long exactly off the top of my head, but long enough when Tom Brady was here. So yeah, I think that it does suck for some kids because you want to keep that nucleus of their offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs, especially off a Super Bowl loss. But then again, it happens, and people poach offensive linemen here and there. But I kind of wanted to turn around for like a smaller pick that we made up. Durham Smith, tight end from Miami. What are some of your thoughts on him?
It's another player that's familiar with Ben's system, man. And apparently we're looking for tight ends that can block. As much as we all like Cole Kmet, and we all have these. Thank you, Brian, from our CNG podcast page on Facebook, coming through with the comments and the facts about Tutty's been in 9 years. Thank you, Brian. He's getting guys that's familiar with the system. I don't know if you heard Ben Johnson say, "No block, no rock." That's coming from the wide receivers. That means from the tight ends. Everybody that's going to be in Ben Johnson's offense that's out there going to have to block. So the guy that we picked up is just a guy that's going to be able to block for Caleb Williams and for this offense. It's a different style. So Cole Kmet, as much as we like him, he's not a good blocker, bro. I don't know how many times last season we've seen him miss assignments on blocking. I mean, get destroyed. The dude is like 6'5", 240 pounds, and he's just not blocking. He looks like a blocking tight end. He can catch, but he's not. That's not who he is. So good job for Ben Johnson getting someone in his system that's going to fit his system as far as blocking. So if it comes down to Cole Kmet losing reps in training camp, losing reps, in games and like that, we're going to know why, because the guy that he brought in is a better blocking tight end.
That's fair. I mean, I think when it comes to Cole Kmet, and that's a whole can of worms, whether Cole Kmet is the long-term solution, especially after we paid him like $50 million for 4 years. Yeah, listen, I feel like the whole premise of Cole Kmet, and this is kind of going off a little bit of a tangent, which I typically tend to do, but Cole Kmet, I see the talent there. I still think that he's a pretty solid tight end, and as much as the overrated comments definitely do, have some validity to them, I still think that he was in a system that did not coach him properly. And whether it was when he was with Matt Nagy, when he was with Eberflus, with Luke Getsy and Shane Waldron, unfortunately, there was moments where I think that comes down to coaching. And with Ben Johnson being a former tight ends coach, wide receivers coach, offensive coordinator, been through all the ranks of an offense, knows very well how to, eventually coach a very, very talented wide receiver, tight end from Notre Dame. So I think that Cole Kmet can be really good. He has a potential to under Ben Johnson's system, but I think we have to really just see it to believe it.
No, it's going to come down to effort.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and we all can tell that people that are smart like Ben Johnson, people like that are really smart, they're analytical, they're organized. They're not going to give him too much more time. You know what I mean? Every offense, all tight ends have to block. That's not going to change. Kettle blocks, Earth blocks, all these guys are the top blocking tight ends. They all block. Ben Johnson saw it. So if he's looking at this guy, was it Laporta in Detroit, and he's a blocking tight end he could play, what did you think you expect from the Chicago Bears? Cole Kmet is not a rookie, bro. You know what I mean? So you sometimes it's hard for a tiger to change his stripes. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You know what I mean? So we got to pay attention to like that type of thing. Like you used to playing loser football. You go up there going on podcasts where you should be studying and being in the film room. You better believe it that a coach like Ben Johnson is paying attention to all that type of stuff, because what are you doing in your playbook? What are you doing in the offseason to get better as a blocker? I don't think he's going to have that much patience with Cole Kmet.
Yeah, you have 100% a valid point. Like, I completely understand that. And yeah, it does. Blocking is very important, and there are a lot of tight ends in the draft that, you know, in the later rounds you can potentially get as well. So, you know, I'm talking about like Luke Lachey, maybe from we get our own tight end from tight end university, you know, like from Iowa, you know, like get our own one, you know. So, you know, there are definitely options, and I think, you know, Ben Johnson with the Bears specifically has all the room and all the, you know, the power to make any analytical decisions that he really wants to. And I'm really excited about that. And I think the one reason why I think this draft isn't as, because a lot of people are saying because it's like there's no clear cut number one overall pick this year. That leaves to so much variability amongst the number one through like 32 picks in the first round. So I find it really interesting, and especially with the situation where the Bears don't need a quarterback this time. We have all the leverage right now to, you know, maybe go for Ashton Genty or a Will Campbell or Mason Graham. Oh, the list keeps going on and on. Like, I feel like I've seen like I feel like I'm Doctor Strange with all the possibilities. Like,
the mock draft, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's like there's too many at this point. I'm like, okay, now I'm like too excited at this point. So it's I'm really looking forward to this, and I think it really just all depends on what the the Bears do in free agency. That like Brian said, number 10 pick is going to be a huge decision, because we could either stay at 10, trade back if depending on who's on the board, like depending on what our needs are. Like,
it's nice to have options.
Yeah, it's literally
it's nice to have options, man, because people, I put up a thing about, you know, the Raiders, you know, Bears fans need to change their expectations against Genty, because you better believe the Raiders might take him, man. Like Pete Carroll might take that guy, man. There's a couple of teams that need running backs before they get to us. So we got to roll the dice, man. Like I like Genty, like I've been telling people before, like I like Genty. You know, it's the same kind of situation how I felt about Caleb Williams with the O-line being not as good as it should have been. Like, yeah, it was nice to see him running around, throw off-platform throws, throw off-script throws. He got 68 sacks. That's cool. Okay, you did that 1 year. I don't want to see that shit again. Then you bring in a running back that is pretty good after yards, after contact as a running back. That's good. That's what I would draft him for, like, depending on how good he is after contact. I don't want to see that for 3, 4, 5 years on Genty. I want to see an offensive line that he can run through. So as much as people want Genty to be here, I can tolerate if the O-line is going to be there to help him block, and we can save his ability to shed tackles.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, listen, I'm buying into the hype of Genty right now, and I think, you know, before it was like I really wanted, you know, to nail offensive line. Like, but the thing is, the Bears right now have been addressing the offensive line. Crazy. Like, newsflash, it's insane. Like, we are actually doing something that we were supposed to do like 5 years ago and stuff, and it's kind of insane. But it's gonna definitely come down to what we do in free agency, and like you said, it's a plethora of options, and it's just the trade deadline not trade deadline. What am I talking about? Free agency. We're like at the point now where it's like, oh, we can't even wait for Wednesday. We have to wait for Monday, where it's a legal tampering period. Like, that's how invested we are in the whole process. And yeah, I agree. Swift is a very, on the topic of Swift, like, you know, another player that was with Ben Johnson. You know, there's, you know, an argument on both sides. Swift can either be a Bear because he has experience with Ben Johnson, or Ben Johnson can ship him off due to the fact that that's what he did in Detroit, like to him when Swift went to the Eagles. So
Mhm.
it just really also depends on how much does Ben Johnson value the running backs in the draft this year. Does he really like keeping going for Genty, or does he like Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Judkins, and like there are a bunch of Marion Hampton as well. Like there are a bunch of options that I think that Ben Johnson can go for, and maybe not even stick with Swift. And you also even have another running back in Roshan Johnson just sitting in the shadows as well. Um, I don't know. I just think that in general, it's going to be really dependent on what Ben Johnson. He has all the cards that are in his
I mean,
hands at this.
but you just said it. There's so many options. So if there's so many options, common sense tells you, why would I pick a running back at 10 when the premium position at pass rusher is there? You could take one of the freaks that's a pass rusher and take Pierce from Tennessee. Like, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room to understand that. If those running backs that are in college right now are going to be there when you pick, why not just get them and save your 10th overall pick to get a nice pass rush or Will Campbell, whoever? Like, just don't reach on a guy when you don't have to. If there's guys that got just as good as stats, that could shed tackles, that got good burst, acceleration. If all those guys are there, there's just one that's supposed to be the best. I don't know. Like, are we what they call it, picking hairs? Like, come on now, man. Like, let's not do that.
Yeah. And speaking of, we got our, the usual on the podcast /GotNext as well. And yeah, just to introduce, this is Guy Walker as well. So
What's up, bro?
From the
What's up?
CNG podcast. So
Nice to
Yeah.
meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too. I'm sorry
Yes,
I'm
sir.
late.
It's all
No, you're
good, man.
No, you're good. Like we were just talking about before you got here. Let's actually go with some of your thoughts actually. So, let's talk about your initial reactions to the Jonah Jackson move, Joe Tooney move, and Durham Smith move from the tight end from Miami. Go for it.
Alright. Yeah, I like the moves that so far Ryan Poles has done. Like trading a 6th-round pick for Jonah Jackson. He's been with with Ben Johnson for like 4 years in Detroit. Didn't have such a good year last year. He was injured for like most of it. But I think that was a really good move, the Jonah Jackson move. And then I think the Joe Tooney one, he's a proven veteran. And I think we really need like a proven veteran in our offensive line. So I'm really happy with that move. He's really helped the Chiefs and the Patriots. So I think he's still solid, even though he's 32 years old. Hopefully, like the contract we give him is not like crazy, but I really like that move for just a 4th-round pick. And then the Smythe move, I think he's a really good blocker. The reason why I know him a lot is because I play Madden with the Dolphins, and like I just know Smythe. He's always open. But yeah, I mean, I think he's solid. Obviously, Cole Kmet's gonna be our tight end 1, so hopefully we used Cole Kmet right this season. But I like that we got like a blocking tight end because we really do need one. So yeah, I like those moves so far. And sorry, I think these 2 moves that we made, like the offensive tackle and the guard, I think really like puts a question of what we're going to do with the 10th overall pick. There's so many different avenues we go with. Like we can either go with Ashton Janty. There's probably I think the guy from Alabama, the Booker guy.
Tyler
We can
Booker.
go with Tyler Booker. We can go with him. If Will Campbell somehow still there, we go for him. Like we can even trade back. So I'm excited. I think these moves are really good though.
Yeah, very well said.
Well said, bro. Well said.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, also one more thing before we get into the stuff that happened, like the crazy shit that happened this last couple of days. Josh Blackwell got a deal done with the Chicago Bears. For those who don't know, Josh Blackwell is a DB/special teams player. If you remember, he housed a punt return in Lambeau to set up the eventual win in Lambeau Field this past season. So I think that the $6 million for 2 years, making him the highest paid special teams player in the NFL, which is pretty big, title to
Good for
have.
him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And yeah, the Bears got a deal done. So what are your thoughts on this move? Go, whichever one to go first.
I just think it's a good move. You want to keep whoever's performing on your team. And we got to remember that Atwell, the special team coach, he was the only person that did not get fired on that staff this year. So the fact that he kept his job and his best punt returner kept his job lets you know that this staff is evaluating who wants to win and who does their job correctly. So the fact that he got a deal for $6 million for 2 years, that's pretty good, man. You don't want to leave your cupboard bare just getting rid of people. So you want to investigate everybody on your team that's producing and keep them. So congratulations to Blackwell, man.
Yeah, I think it was a good move. I mean, the contract's not crazy for him. Like $6 million, not crazy. I think we do need someone like Josh. Yeah, I think we do need someone like Josh Blackwell that can make, some plays in special teams with the new like dynamic kickoff return rule. So we do need someone like that. So I think, special teams is very important in the NFL. I think it's a very slept on like part of the game. And I feel like keeping him is a really good move. And I'm excited to see what else we do for the special teams. I think Cairo, like going to talking about special teams, I think Cairo Santos, like hopefully like this offseason, I don't know. The only thing I'm like scared of with Cairo is like if we need like a 55 yarder, that's my only thing with him is like he can't really kick that, right? He doesn't have the leg for it. So that's my only thing about the special teams I don't really like. But he's really accurate when it comes to like the 40 yarders and the 45 yarders, like anything below that too. He's very accurate. I'm just like his leg is not that strong. So like that's my only thing with it. But yeah, with this Blackwell move, I like it a lot, and I'm excited to see what else the Bears can do.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you kind of made a point where I kind of want to talk about that a little bit because that's going to be a pretty big deal and pretty big, when it comes to the draft. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about that except for, you bringing that up. Cairo Santos, a kicker, what would the Bears do? They have a big decision to come when it comes to the kicking position because we saw blocked kicks this year. We saw when we needed to get a 60-yard or 50-yard kick, Cairo tends to miss them, but he is automatic.
Barely made the one against Green Bay. He barely made that one.
Exactly. That made me like, oh, geez, that the nerves in that game, like, cannot even fathom that. But it's a conversation to be had. Yes, Cairo Santos has been, one of the more like consistent kickers that we've had in the game besides Robbie Gould. And he, obviously a class act, very great guy, and was the reason why we won that game in Green Bay. But it comes to the point where we have to kind of talk about, do we go for a kicker eventually? And what should we do in that sense? And I kind of wanted to go with, I mean, obviously Slashing made his point, but kind of wanted your guy. What are your thoughts on like Cairo Santos and whether should we go for a kicker or not?
We got to go for a kicker, man, because, and if people have to remember that it's not easy to kick at Soldier Field on the lake. You have to get someone that could kick in bad weather. That's the key. You got to get you someone with a leg that could kick in bad weather. We have to get that kid because nowadays these kickers are kicking 55-yard field goals, 60-yard field goals like it's a 4-foot layup. So the fact that we got a kicker that can't do that and we can win games from a 55-yard field goal, and knowing that we might not get as close to a 40-yard field goal, 43-yard field goal, you have to attack the draft and get another kicker. You have to. And the only thing I can say is just make sure that that kicker is used to kicking in inclement weather. We don't want nobody used to kicking in Florida or kicking in California. You want somebody that's kicking in Notre Dame or Ohio State or some Kentucky or something like that. You want to get you a guy that's used to cold weather to kick that ball, and they got a leg.
Yeah, you need to get someone from the Northeast, like or Northwest at this point. You got to go from either side of them and just be like, hey, wherever it snows the most, we get the kicker from there at this point. So you make a great point, and Plank made a great observation, and it's so true. 60-yard field goals, becoming the norm nowadays. With like Brandon Aubrey, being the biggest example of being the one that can automatically, like 50 yards, it's like in range at that point.
The layup.
So there's a layup for him, testing the range at this point. So very, very true. I think that, while Cairo is great, I think that if you have an opportunity to go and get someone like a kicker, because I don't know any kickers off the top of my head. I didn't do that much draft analysis yet.
Chicago Clarence came in here.
Yeah,
Shout
kicker
out to
is the
Chicago
least of our
Clarence.
problems. But when it comes to the nitpick, the nitty gritty parts of the team, it's like you got to consider that at some point because we always neglect something. It's always something every season with the Chicago Bears. It's like you know, it's like, oh, we addressed the wide receiver position, but our offensive line is not there. Oh, we addressed the DB's position, but our front line is not there. So there are things that we have to like consider. Like at this point, we have to collectively decide what like should be the norm for the entire team. But very, very true. I kind of understand what you mean, Clarence. But yeah, like, oh, Ben Sauls from Pitt. I heard of him from the Bear review. Like, I heard he's really good too. But yeah, I mean, we got some comments going on and people that in the comments, but another person as well. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You want to say
Yeah,
something?
no. I was gonna. I saw a comment. I think someone said like, if you're scoring touchdowns, like kicker doesn't matter. I like have to disagree with that because like when it comes down to like these really close games, you do want a kicker to like make a 50-yarder or something like that.
Yeah.
Because if you even look at like the close games that happened, like Super Bowl 57, like it came down to a kick. Like this year, so many of our game winners, like game winning drives that Caleb Williams has like led, we needed a kicker, and the reason why like so many times like Matt like we didn't like be able to kick a field goal is because Cairo Santos could not even like we couldn't even attempt it. It was an auto miss. So like it would be better to like go on a 4th and 6 than like kick a 53 yarder. So that's why I'm saying I don't think it's like crazy like thing. Like if he stays, he stays. It's like it's not crazy, but I do think that like we should maybe draft one. I mean, maybe. I mean, with like maybe a 6th or 7th rounder. Because kickers
you gotta do it. There's no maybe to it, bro. Like Cairo has a questionable leg, man. Like if I'm Ben Johnson and I'm trying to end the game on a 55-yard, 57-yarder, I'm doing it. I'm going to get my guy. I'm going to get my guy. It's that simple. No matter how I feel about Cairo, yeah, he's good, but we can always be better. That's the point of this. Is always be better. If I can get a kid with an iron leg that can kick 57 yards, 60-yard field goals, I'm going to get him. I don't care. I'm going to get him. I need that insurance. That's insurance.
Yeah. Exactly. And like to Brian's point as well, like, yes, I agree. It wouldn't be close if we moved the ball. Correct. But there will be games where, the quarterback isn't playing well. The offense isn't moving, but you have to rely on a kicker. That's why he's on the team in the first place. And, you'll have those days where, the offense isn't clicking. And the only way to score points is going to be those field goals. So,
like the Steelers come in mind to me, like when you're saying that, because like
Chris
the Steelers, like the Steelers, like I think they won 2 games this season where like the kicker won them the game.
Oh
like,
Boswell was a god this year. Like,
I'm not saying like we should rely on that, but like let's just say our quarterback or our offense is not like rolling, like getting like being in the red zone and like being able to efficiently be able to kick the ball and like for a game winner to kick the ball from 50-yard plus. We should be able to be comfortable with that. And I'm not saying, again, like, I think Cairo, he's a pretty accurate kicker, like, when it comes to below, like, 50 yards. But we do need a kicker that can kick from 50, and we can all feel confident about him, right? So, he did nail the 51-yarder in Green Bay, thankfully. But, I mean, we were kind of nervous about that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess now that we covered all the moves that have happened so far, let's talk about some potential moves. But before we get into that, please, if you guys are watching right now, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Follow G Walker in the CNG podcast as well. Subscribe to it's this way. Okay, subscribe to Slashing as well. He also posts some content on YouTube, so feel free to do so. Links in the description and all of our pages as well on Twitter as well. The competent coaching costs us the game, not the kicker. Fix the O-line, D-line, and we win games. Santo has been yes, that's fair. I mean, 100%. Like, I'm not saying that the kicker is the biggest issue. That's not what we're trying to say. We're just trying to say, once we address everything that's important, being the offensive line, the D line, the weapons that we have, the play calling, then we can focus on the kicker. I'm not saying that should be the forefront of our thing. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. We're not saying that you aren't. It's just that we just want to make a a holistic point of view perspective. But yeah, let's talk about some of the signing options.
I think real quick. I think the Seattle game.
That awful game.
We should we should have okay. It should have went to overtime if Cairo Santos. We were confident in him to kick a 50. I think it was a 53-yarder. I think we instead went for it on 4th and 6.
That was crazy.
We were more confident in a rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams, to deliver again because before that he delivered on a 4th and 5. We were more confident in him delivering that than Cairo Santos hitting a 53-yarder to send us to overtime. That's what I'm trying to say. We do need a kicker, in my opinion, after we address obviously the line, the D line, and all the other stuff that we have in holes.
I will say to kind of give some grace to Caleb Williams because I think he has been clutch. I kind of understood Thomas Brown's perspective when it comes to Caleb Williams going for it on 4th down and 6, but when you have the opportunity to go for a field goal, I think you would do it, right? But I think Caleb consistently on 4th down, especially in that Green Bay game, especially against the Vikings at home, and even against Detroit, against big teams, he comes up big on 4th down as well. It doesn't always end up that way, but you see a small sample size enough where you can kind of make that decision. But it also comes down to coaching as well. So that's just another thing. And yeah, I mean, playoffs, we'll probably get into it near the end of the pod, but we'll see what happens. Those field goals are crucial in close games, regardless of how well or poor the rest of the team is doing. Yeah, that's fair. That's completely fair at this point. Once again, competent coaching. We're going to debate. I mean, yeah, we have.
Hold on. Let me get him. This is Chicago Clarence from the Bears Den podcast. We're just talking about the things that we would like to see change. Nobody's saying Cairo Santos is not a good kicker. Nobody's saying Cairo can't kick. We're not talking about the competent coaches and all that other stuff. We're just simply talking about what would we like to get better at. We've all seen Cairo Santos. We all know that he's good, but we can get better. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, man.
Exactly. But now that we talked a lot about Cairo Santos, which I didn't really expect to do today's podcast, which, hey, that's awesome. It's always nice to have some conversation outside of, what the agenda is. But let's talk about the signing options and the big news, Trey Hendrickson, the fact that he, was allowed to seek a trade makes me ask 2 questions. 1, what are the Bengals doing? Genuinely, what are they doing? And 2, is he a Bear? That's the 2 questions in my mind right now. Because, there was an interest at the trade deadline for Trey Hendrickson. And I think there's been an interest, even through camp as well, because he was approaching, free agents. Or no, was it a contract year? I'm not really sure. But, there was an opportunity for him to leave the Bengals and be an opportunity to be a free agent. So kind of your thoughts on the Trey Hendrickson potential move. And where do you think he'll end up? Anyone want to go first? Anyone's up for grabs?
Yeah, I can go. I think Trey Hendrickson would be a really, really good piece to this defensive line. We really do need another edge rusher that can pair up with Montez Sweat. We really, really need that. Trey Hendrickson is last 2 seasons on the Bengals, 17.5 sacks. That's not a joke. He led the league in sacks this season. So I definitely would give up maybe a 2nd round pick and a 5th. I don't know. I don't know what the Bengals asking price is, obviously, but I definitely would not give up our 1st round pick this year because he's also 30 years old. And I mean, I'm not saying that he's bad. He's a really good player. I would love him to be on our team, but I wouldn't give up so much for him. But I would give up maybe a 2nd and a 5th or second or fourth. Because I do think he's really, really good, and he definitely could help Montez Sweat a lot. So, yeah, and when we have Gervon Dexter coming back, Andrew Billings coming back next season, we got Montez Sweat, obviously. You can just get someone like Trey Hendrickson. Now, obviously, with that trade in mind, we got to look at like the contract. Like, what is he going to ask, right? So that's another thing. But if his asking price is not like crazy amount, I'd say why not go for it?
Very well.
I mean,
How about you?
because he's going to want more money than Khalil Mack. I can tell you that. He's going to want more money than Khalil Mack. So the Bears are going to look at that situation because I did see a highlight reel that they put on the Chicago Bears website about, embrace your legacy. And Khalil Mack was on that. He was on it
Multiple times. Yeah.
multiple times. So are they signaling something to Chicago Bear Nation about bringing Khalil Mack back? Because if they can look at Hendrickson and say, okay, he's 30 years old, but how much does he want? And at the end of the day, it's about money. Well, he wants 28 million or 30, whatever he wants. Okay, we want Khalil Mack is back here, and he wants 20 million. So if it's coming down to getting somebody cheaper, and all you're trying to do is get someone to help Montez Sweat on that end, and you got a guy that already played in Chicago, and he wants to come back here, and he might take a little money off just to get here, I would look at Khalil Mack more. But I wouldn't mind having Hendrickson based on what we got to give up. Now, we got to give up a second round to get him, then fine. You give up that second round pick. I don't give a damn about picks like that, especially when you can get a guy that has 17 and a half sacks. You got to get him. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to overthink. There's nothing to overanalyze. You got to get him because we haven't had enough pass rush as we wanted to last season. So beggars can't be choosers. You know what I mean? You cannot do that. But if it's coming down to getting Mack a little bit cheaper and getting Hendrickson, I'm gonna go with Khalil Mack for real.
Like, I completely understand that. Yeah. And the thing is, what's crazy is that both Hendrickson and Khalil Mack worked with Dennis Allen in the past. Like, that's going to be a key factor when it comes to the decision. I think, having that experience from that perspective of, working with a defensive minded like coordinator like Dennis Allen, a defensive guru, like, I think is going to be a factor when it comes to the decision process of whether we should give up that pick.
Right.
And yeah, like, listen, based on reports right now, it seems like it could go low as third round pick to just get Trey Hendrickson as well. So the Bears have a third round pick, and they're probably willing to give up a fifth as well if it means getting Trey Hendrickson. And Khalil Mack, I think that was my next point as well with the post. He kind of beat me to it, which is
my bad.
You read my mind. No, you read my mind. That's always appreciated. You make my life a lot easier, with all these transitions. And the move and the fact that the Bears put Khalil Mack, who's not even on the team yet, and yes, he was on our team in the past, but like, giving that like little premonition, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. The social media team knows. I could see the Khalil Mack coming here, and it would be amazing, especially for the people that have Khalil Mack jerseys already. Like, they don't have to get rid of it; they just have it ready in their closet. Dust it off a little bit, and yeah, you'll be set. So I'd love to see a reunion. It would mean a lot to the Bears in general and Bears fans. And Khalil Mack, listen, say what you want about him in his last season. Like, he had 6.5 sacks. The year prior, he had 6 sacks in a game. Last 2 years ago. Did. Yeah, like, he still has a dog in him. He still has an elite mentality of how to get to the quarterback. And, while he may be 30, and Trey Hendrickson, obviously coming off a 17.5 sack career year, just won second place in defensive player of the year. Khalil Mack still has it, and he will probably be a lot cheaper option who knows the system, who knows Dennis Allen, who's played in Chicago before. So either way, both options work for me. And if we do end up bringing or drafting an edge rusher in the draft, because there are a bunch of them going to be available, it's a good opportunity for whoever's like a Khalil Mack or Trey Hendrickson to mentor the said rookie edge rusher as well. So any further thoughts on that?
I mean, I think my like one skepticism of like Khalil Mack is like, I think his age. And like, if you look at his like last 3 seasons, like I get it. He had like a crazy season in 2023, like 17 sacks. But if you look at it, like the year before he had 8 sacks. This year he has 6. And like my thing is he played with Joey Bosa too, so that is something we got to look into it. But I get it. Like Khalil Mack when he was a Bear back in 2018, 2019, he was a dog. Like he was crazy. But I just think that I don't really like. It matters how much we pay for him, obviously. And I think that if we get Khalil Mack, I feel like we're settling. Like that's my thing with the edge. Like I just don't know if he has enough left in him to be a force multiplier on this defensive line, right? I would honestly, and being so serious, I would much rather like draft an edge over getting Khalil because at least that guy, like the guy we draft, has more like potential to being like a really good player for us in the future. I just think that Khalil Mack, I mean, it's not even. It's like pretty true. Like he was looking to retire this season. He was thinking about it.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if I really want like the Bears to go after a guy that was thinking about retirement and he might regress. Like, I mean, he's obviously going to regress. He's 34 years old. I would much rather go for Trey Hendrickson. I think he's 30 years old. He's 4 years younger. And he's, I mean, 2 years in a row, he's had 17 and a half sacks. So it's not like an anomaly. And he basically carried that Bengals defense last year.
Mhm.
And I know that defense was
Or lack
horrible.
thereof a defense.
Yeah, I mean, like that defense was horrible. But I think he can be really, really good with Montez Sweat, and Montez Sweat will be the number 2. So if you have Montez Sweat as your number 2 edge, that defensive line will be scary. So I'm not against them going for one, but I don't know. Khalil Mack, I don't know, man. Like I don't know if he has, like Brian said, like I don't think he has any time left, man. Like I think he's done. I mean, maybe like 4 sacks, but I don't know if I really want to pay like a guy that like $8 million or something for like 4 sacks. Like, I don't know if he still has it in him.
That's fair. That's completely fair, honestly. Like, I don't mind if we go for the Trey Hendrickson over Khalil Mack for that sole purpose. And yeah, I mean, it just really depends. Listen, at the end of the day, like we said earlier in the pod, we have options. And the fact that we have a ton of options like this, where we have conversation like this, we're not, hell bent like or restricted from our cap space and all that stuff. Like we have options to rely on, and that's just at the end of the day one of them. And the draft is also available too. So I 100% understand your point, and you also mentioned a name as well that I also want to talk about because he also made some headlines as well. Joey Bosa. Like I said, options, but on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you guys think? What are you guys thinking?
Hell no. No.
I just wanted to put it out there. Just want to put it out there, Just want to put it out there.
Yeah, I feel you, but no, I don't think it. No, because I really want to know why Joey Buss must have fell off the damn earth. Like, what happened to him?
Injuries.
That's what I want to know. Injuries, okay, man. Yeah, like, yeah, you don't want to get nobody else's trash on your team like that, man. And then bring him on your team and you got to heal. Nah, bro, no, no.
Yeah, especially with the contract situation he had. I think I'm not sure exactly, and don't quote me on this, anyone. Like, I don't really know exactly what his contract, but from what I remember reading, it's like I think 23 mil or something like that per year.
He's falling off. He's falling off.
Yeah, he got hurt. He's like,
yeah, it was quick. They let him go quick. They was like, yep. He's like, the thing about letting him go, and I looked up, he was gone. I was like, damn.
Yeah, and the thing is, Joey Bosa has been there for since they were a San Diego Charger. Like he's been there for that long, and apparently there's thoughts of him maybe reuniting with his brother in San Fran, but does even San Fran even want him? Also another question to ask, but. Yeah. What about your thoughts?
I think a cheap option maybe like Chase Young, like pair him up back with Montez Sweat. He's been in the Dennis Allen system.
Dennis Allen had a lot of good things to say about
his pressure rate was among top 10 last year. So, I mean, that could be a mind. That could be like a name in mind. Like Chase Young, he wouldn't be that expensive. He's also played with he's also played with Montez Sweat.
Hey, Clarence, don't say Anthony Davis at least won a ring, dude. He didn't win shit, bro.
That's funny.
Anthony Davis is bro, he won a championship, All NBA team. Come on, bro.
Yeah. But that's I see what you mean though. I see what you mean. But yeah, I mean Young. Yeah, I can see Chase Young being an option, but like I can also see the drawbacks as well with him. But let's actually move on to a big key piece for this offensive line, and his name has been like screamed throughout Bears Nation, and that is Atlanta Falcons center Drew Dahlman. And listen, if there was a player that I want on the Chicago Bears more, it would be Drew Dahlman. Because Drew Dahlman, while he did have an injured season last season, has proven time and time again each season as he played, his pressure, his stats just kept getting better. And with the options that we have currently at center position, he will be like, this is what our center position like rating is. He is like all the way over here. That's an insane improvement. So I just want to know what your guys' thoughts on Drew Dahlman is, and do you think the Chicago Bears are going to get him? And if so, like, what are your thoughts on him? Yeah.
I just think they got to do it, man. I think that the Chicago Bears and the incompetence that Ryan Poles has given the Chicago Bears fan, how he's given his quarterbacks, he's given Justin Fields, he's given Caleb Williams, not really giving the players and the fans a real offensive line. We deserve this. We deserve Dahlman on this team. I don't give a damn what he needs to do or what he needs to pay him. Like, we cannot afford another year that we had with Caleb Williams giving up 68 sacks or taking 68 sacks. Like, if you got the guy you want in the tunnel, go get Dahlman, man. Like, it's not time to play around. He's going to be a free agent. Hey, pay him the money, bro. Like, our offensive line room and our offensive line will be 1,000 times better with him on the team. I don't want you to draft a guy. Don't give me this, let's just draft. I'm sick of waiting on people to develop. Do it the right way. Get the veterans on the defensive line, or get the veterans in the secondary. Whoever those veterans are, then bring those along with the young boys. You know what I mean? So, Dahlman, I'm sold on him, man. We got to get him in here.
Yeah, and I don't think like at this point as well, dude. There's so many reports now that Atlanta can't keep him at this point. Like they can't. Like they as much as they want to keep him because obviously he's going to be a great talent. He's probably asking for a decent amount, and I don't think Atlanta's cap situation is as good as the Chicago Bears cap situation to be able to pay him the money that he deserves. So, oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to. But yeah, like imagine our offensive line: Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson in right guard. Left guard is Joe Tooney, Darnell Wright at right tackle, and I think if we do, and then Braxton Jones, and if we end up getting like an added player in the draft, he can be an option as well. So our offensive line already from just one off season or barely an off season has improved like exponentially, and that's what we've been asking for years and years and years. So that's just going to be what is going to be crucial for the Chicago Bears. And you have even other options as well, like a Mekhi Becton as well. Wait, he plays tackle, right? No, wait.
No, guard. I thought.
Guard. Right, okay, guard. You have Mekhi Becton as well, he was in free agent as well. Like, there are a ton of options. Ryan Poles, you have to just get one. Just get a couple, or one or a couple. Honestly, get a couple. As many as you possibly can at this point. We can't have
his job depends on it, man. Like his job depends on it. I don't care if he's getting a deal, bro. Ryan Poles will get fired so fast he does not fix his offensive line this year. I don't give a damn. So a guy like that Atlanta can't pay, they got like 3 first rounders on that offensive line, and Dahlman might not get paid. Guys are coming up to get paid. Go get him. I don't want to hear it. Go get him. And they're saying the Bears are making a serious offer to get him to him. Reading reports on that. When there's smoke, there's fire, man. So I think it'll happen.
Oh yeah, very true. What about you, Slashing? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Drew Dahlman is a must, man. I mean, I've been hearing it a lot. I mean, I actually really didn't know about him that much until I looked at Twitter, and then I mean, he's a really good talent. Like, we do need a center. I mean, we've been having a lot of center issues for the past 5 years, so we do need a good center. Yeah, I think if there's one free agent we need it's Drew Dahlman.
Wait, Clarence, we're 3-time. We're the first 3-peat offseason champs.
3-peat offseason champs, man.
3 times. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, so I think I do agree. Like drafting, like it'll take a while for him to like the guy we get to like develop. So I do think that we do
Yeah.
need like a veteran in Drew Dahlman to come into this Bears offensive line. But with Joe Tooney being also like a veteran present, Jordan Jackson a veteran presence, and I do agree. I think we should keep honestly we should maybe keep Braxton Jones because I think he didn't do terrible last year, and I think Darren Wright solid tackle. So I'm just excited to see where this offensive line can go. I think Dahlman or the Kelly guy from the Colts. Yeah, we had to get one of those. So yeah, I think this is the guy we need to get. So I don't know. I'm excited. Maybe Ryan Poles can pull off the heist. I don't know. Maybe.
Has Ryan Poles has he drafted a center since he's been here? I don't think he's ever drafted a center this whole time he's been here.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's crazy. That's
He traded for Lucas Patrick, I think, right? And then
that name I can't. That name I can't.
And he traded for like Coleman Shelton.
Oh yeah, we and Ryan Bates, but that's
Ryan
a guard.
Bates.
But like he was playing center too.
Never drafted a center, bro, in 4 years that you've fucking been. Like that's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is. But yeah, I mean, hey, now he has an opportunity to rectify 3 years of wrongdoing. So
he better do it.
Yeah. So now that we're kind of nearing the end of the show, but now I kind of wanted to shift towards the draft a little bit. So give me some of your draft thoughts because right now we have the 10th pick, we have the 39th and the 41st pick in the first 3 rounds. What are your thoughts on, the process, given what's happened so far, right? Based on what's happened currently, what are your thoughts on what the Bears should do with that 10th overall pick? Should we trade down? Should we stay where we are? And who should we select as well?
Well, this is what I've been saying the whole time. It's like you get what you can. Like, if it depends on what you want to do in the trench. Like, I'm all for whatever option. Like, if we can trade that 10 and we can get back 11 and 17, that's fine. If that's a tackle or a pass rush at 17, that's fine. Whatever we do, we have to maximize the pick, whether that's one player or multiple players. It doesn't matter to me. Like, if it's Pierce Jr., go get him. I like him as an edge rush. If it's Genty and you building the offensive line and he falls to us at 10, go get him. If you can trade back and get a tackle or edge rush and 2 picks in the first round, go do it. So that's the realization that I've come across to. I don't really have anything specific to like just say, oh, I want this player. No, just make the best decision, your best decision, and just keep it from there. Like there's really nothing super duper I can say this. It's gonna be like, yeah, I want this and that. But no, if the best player is there at 10, take them. If the best player is not there at 10 and you didn't get what you want, okay, trade the pick. And if it gets you 2 picks in one and you get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, do it. That's it.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think the obvious thing is to like take the best player at 10. I really hope that because the way that we've been building the line, I really hope that we take Ashton Jancy with the 10th pick. I really, really, really want him now on the Bears. I wasn't convinced back then, but now that Ryan Poles has made some moves on this offensive line, if we get Drew Dahlman too, or like a good center, I definitely think we should go and get a running back because Ben Johnson took Jahmyr Gibbs 2 years ago, and look at the guy Jahmyr Gibbs is right now. And I think Ashton Janty is a better talent than Gibbs, like coming out of college. So
wait, guys, we just got some breaking news. Well, it's not related to the Bears, but
Geno Smith, yeah, he got traded.
We got Geno Smith getting traded 50 seconds ago to
JT is going to the Raiders. There you go, right there. That's it.
God, they got the.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it. Yep.
And the crazy thing is that Geno Smith worked with Pete Carroll, so he's reuniting with Pete Carroll again. Wow.
He's definitely taking Genty.
Why are they taking Genty?
Because
they need a running back. Yeah, he's going to. Pete Carroll's taking that dude, man. Because you got to go through who's first pick, and you think is. Give me the first 5 picks. Who you think is going where?
I think it's Cam. I think it's Cam Ward.
Okay.
And then you got Shador. You got Travis Hunter.
Okay, that's 3.
What else? Abdul Carter. That's 4.
4.
And then I think the Mason guy.
Mason Graham.
So Will Campbell. I think they would much rather take Will Campbell.
You better pray. You saying that, but that's you want wishful thinking.
No, that's fair.
And no, honestly, if Will Campbell falls to us, I'll go with Will Campbell. I mean,
Yeah.
if he falls to us, like he's obviously my first pick. I know he's not gonna fall to 10. So like that's why I really want Genty. Like I'm being so serious. Like Genty on this Bears team with Ben Johnson, because Ben Johnson loves like good running backs. Because I mean that's what they did with Montgomery and Gibbs. So I really hope that we recreate it and you know. Like, I think it'll be really good with a good run game. Caleb Williams can be really good.
Yeah, I agree. I could tolerate it if we pick him at if the line is getting built, because he's not my first. I will never take a running back at 10. Like I said, you better be Adrian Peterson or some fucking body. You better be just shedding tackles, breaking records. Like you got to be Derrick Henry, one of those guys. Like, but if the offensive line is being built, I could tolerate it. It's not my first choice, but I can tolerate it.
Yeah, that's fair. And also, like, you know, you can say like, oh, you're only going to take Adrian Peterson or Derrick Henry and stuff. Ashton Genty as well. You got to keep in mind, dude was second in Heisman and honestly has a case to win the Heisman. Honestly, with what he has done production wise in Boise State and making the college playoffs as well, and you know, while being mostly shut down in the college playoffs, still had some good moments in that game to show you why he's like that great talent of a running back that he is. And you know, I think I'm on the Genty train right now because with how the Bears are building the offensive line, like you said, Guy, like they're building the offensive line the way I wanted to, you know, and the way I think a lot of Bears fans want to. And given that vote of confidence, I think it's, you know, well in the realm of possibility that, hey, we have the 10th overall pick. If Ashton Genty somehow falls to us, you know, Ashton Genty also has some interest with us because he's only visited the Bears and the Cowboys, you know, during the combine as well. So they're the only two teams he's met with. And that is a really big indicator of where he ends up going. And if he's there, why not?
And it saves my quarterback. Like I'd rather my running back get hit running the ball than my quarterback. You know what I mean? So I could tolerate it if everything around him is getting built because I don't want my quarterback getting hit. I want Caleb out there throwing darts, man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also like if Will Campbell falls, I think
take him. You take him.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take him over Genty. Yeah, like that's easy at that point.
What about
damn?
Yeah, like listen, if you have Will Campbell falling somehow, some way, all the way down there, that dude is like, I can't explain how. Like,
but where would you put him at? Because if you played Sonny to play the guard, and people are saying his arms are too small, his measurements too small to play tackle, then where is he going to play?
His lower body is crazy.
Joe Tooney could play. He could play both.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I remember
Tooney as well is like very versatile.
Yeah, because I remember in the playoffs, Tooney played both. I think he played.
He had to learn to play left tackle as well.
Because they're horrible.
Let's roll.
I mean, I really want Genty, but if we don't, I mean, I'm fine with it because we can probably draft one in the second round, like maybe Omari and Hampton or like
Caleb
Travion Henderson, something like that. It's a really deep running back draft, so it's not like Genty or bust for us. There's definitely a lot of options. There's even like in the free agency, there's like Najee Harris available. I'm just saying he is a name. He's a good power back kind of name. Obviously, I wouldn't take him over like these players, but like maybe if Ben Johnson really likes him, you might go with him, or we could probably go with like I don't even know who else is in there. I don't know if their free agency is that good, but I know like the draft's good, and I think Najee Harris is a good option. And my question is, do you guys think that Swift is going to stay?
Yeah, what do you think?
Ben Johnson talked about him in a positive way, but the same person that he was in Detroit with got rid of him. So, you know, I don't know if Ben Johnson was being political, being nice, just saying nice things while he was on camera, but Swift can catch the ball out the backfield. That's value in that. He's kind of scared of contact a little bit, but he can catch he's a pass catcher back. And I don't know if I really want to get rid of that. Like if you already got you bringing in a power back, a Genty or whoever's a power running back, you can keep Swift and have him just catch it out the back. Like I don't have a problem with that at all.
I mean, here's my thing. I think if we going back to Will Campbell, I think if we draft Will Campbell somehow at 10, like he somehow falls to us, I think we trade Braxton Jones.
Wait, one more thing I want to.
I think we have to, right? Because we have to trade Braxton Jones at that
I don't
point.
think he'll trade. He'll probably be depth piece, or he'll fight it out in training camp.
But if I'm Braxton Jones, why would I want to be?
Good job, Amber. Good, training camp. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
also true.
I don't know, but but if we're spending draft capital on Will Campbell, why would we keep? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, it's like depth. At the end of the day, it's depth. And if he's able to keep a roster spot and be able to during training camp and during OTAs and walkthroughs, is able to keep up that production and show Ben Johnson that he can be a viable option if anyone were to go down. Why wouldn't you keep him?
Damn, that's crazy. We're already like last year, our starters sucked, and now we're talking about depth. Braxton goes coming off the bench. Oh my god!
Genuinely, it's
that's crazy.
Time. And also, you can think oh yeah, it's you can even think we're off season third time's the charm. Third off-season championship could be the one.
But I think this time it's actually realistic though. I think the way the team is being constructed has not been constructed back when we were thinking about it. Even after Ryan Poles pulled out the heist, right, with the first overall pick, we had huge expectations, 10-win team, right? But if we really look at that team, was it really that good, or is just us praising DJ? It was just really DJ Moore. If we really think about it, it was just DJ Moore. We didn't even have any defensive help back then. And then last year, we got obviously we got Sweat. We paid Jalen Johnson. We get Caleb. We get Keenan. But we had a hole of the offensive line. Now, if we fix both the offensive line and the defensive line, I think the optimism for the Bears fans is actually, I think, legit this time. We actually filled the holes. We actually built the team the right way.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I
get it. And like I said, and they're putting the veterans. We can see the veterans they're getting. So that lets you know they're not doing it backwards and going with draft picks first and just steady pedaling the soil. Oh, this guy didn't work out. We didn't sign him to a second contract. We're getting guys that are proven. So now you can actually see the vision that this is what we should have been doing years ago, just getting vets that are proven that could play that's been healthy for a lot of their time in their career. And they're doing it. And I think that Ryan Poles, as much criticism as we give him, he's just been empowered by Kevin Warren a lot more. You know what I mean? So he's being empowered more, and he got the right coach that he wants, and his vision is matching. I think Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles' vision is matching right now. And I think that's what we're seeing. Because I don't know if it really worked the same way with Ryan Poles coming from Kansas City under that great tutelage, you know what I mean? Andy Reid in the gym, or then you come and you got Eberflus as your coach. What the hell was that? And so now we're seeing a Ryan Poles that maybe we should have saw years ago being empowered. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, I think the one blessing in disguise, and I think we were all a little bit skeptical about in the beginning when the initial moment when Eberflus was fired after Detroit after Thanksgiving, the fact that Kevin Warren took a step in, because it can go either two ways. You could go, a power hungry president, takes over and who doesn't have necessarily any, football operations experience except for building a stadium and with the Big Ten network, or not the Big Ten network, the Big Ten commissioner. Yeah. So now that he has his role, he's overseen this team for 2 years now, and he's okay, enough's enough. I think this team is too talented and has too loyal of a fan base to be treating this to be only winning 5 games or to only be winning 7 games the year prior. In the last 2 years, winning only 12 games. That shouldn't happen. And he had to essentially put his foot down and be hey, listen, we're George McCaskey. We have to really spend money. We cannot afford to, with Caleb Williams on our team and the hype he has all over him, we cannot afford to do that, because this is the first time the Chicago Bears have drafted a quarterback with the first overall pick, in their entire history. So this is we need to get this right. Otherwise, we're absolutely cooked forever, and we'll probably never have to be allowed to draft in the first pick with the first pick ever again. So, the fact that Ryan Poles and him working in tandem, and the fact that they got Ben Johnson, and the offensive line is being fixed, you gotta give Kevin Warren some credit here because I
Yeah.
think
He was the voice in the room, like the voice in the room between being a buffer from Ryan Poles and McCaskey. Like you needed someone to be in the middle. You know what I mean? Like not overwhelmingly, what Ryan says goes, and he's the GM, and what McCaskey says goes. He's the owner. You needed someone to be in the middle to get those guys to see the vision that it's about winning and it's not about a power struggle. So I think the best thing that Kevin Warren was able to do was to get George on the side of it's a team, it's a teamwork, and Ryan Poles vision. If you let him do his job, he will deliver. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah, genuinely. Do you have anything else, Slashing?
Nah, I'm just happy that ownership is finally spending money. And that really showed when we got Ben Johnson. Obviously, we got the first choice finally. I like what we're doing, but I gotta still see the draft. I still gotta see what we do in free agency, and also I gotta see the product on the field. Like obviously, like we can do all these moves, but we gotta win games. We gotta win football games, and
Absolutely.
I'm excited. But we also we gotta see what's going to go on. Like before we put Super Bowl expectations or going to the playoffs, stuff like that. Like we gotta see it. And I think this next year, it's really honestly about quarterback development. I feel like still about Caleb Williams. Can he take that next step? Mm-hmm. I really hope. I think next season he can hit 4K if you give him a good cast, a good supporting cast. With Ben Johnson too, I think he can hit 4K. And the fact that Caleb Williams last season with all that sacks, played all 18 games, he got sacked 68 times.
Fourth in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, some of those sacks were on him. Obviously, they were. I mean, he's a rookie. He makes mistakes, but also a lot of it was on the offensive line. So, I think he'll mature. He got a lot better, and I'm excited to see what he can do because we finally have a quarterback that's very creative, can make timely throws, and with a good offensive line, good receiving core, good coaching staff, the sky's the limit for this offense and for Caleb Williams.
And he's clutch too. I think one of the more clutcher quarterbacks that we've had in a long time, and that showed with Green Bay. That showed with the Commanders. Obviously, we lost that game, but it's out of his control. Green Bay game was also out of. Yeah, Green Bay twice, but we could have won twice. But anyways, that's here nor there. But yeah, speaking of Caleb, we can end the show after this topic. But I always wonder your thoughts on obviously Slashing gave his take on Caleb Williams, and what are your thoughts on Caleb, and what your kind of expectations are of him given what happened this past season?
I mean, my expectations for Caleb just to get better. We saw an unpolished Caleb Williams. We saw a raw talent Caleb Williams. Now it's time to see an on-time Caleb Williams. It's time to see a Caleb Williams that's patient, a Caleb Williams that can step up and go through the pocket a little bit more. You know what I mean? And don't scramble as much. My expectation for Caleb Williams is to simply just do what you said you wanted from a coach. You want to be coach hard, right? You got a coach that's no joke. You got a coach that said he's going to give up a testicle for a Super Bowl. You got a coach that pretty much told you at this very first press conference that I like you, Caleb, but it's going to take more than you for us to win. You know what I mean? And I like the fact that you got a coach that stayed in our division, and he could have left. He could have left, but he's a psychopath, and he stayed in the division. He's going to beat the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. So you got the coach that you wanted that's intense. He's in your face. He's blunt, and he's going to be the coach that's going to coach him hard like he wants to be coached. So I expect a better overall Caleb Williams under Ben Johnson. You got the coach you wanted, bro. You got the organization to spend on the coach. You got the organization to build your offensive line. Got you the receivers. Got you getting you the defensive line. Caleb Williams, it's on you to be better and to deliver next season.
Do you think he's going to hit 4K?
Easy. Easy.
That's what I like
because he's not going to have the ability to go out and be off platform as much as you think he is. I think Ben Johnson's going to drill that shit into him. And I think he's going to have him playing so much on structure to the point to where we're not probably going to be able to recognize Caleb Williams until it's time for Caleb Williams to be the magic man that he's shown us sometime during the season. But overall, this is going to be the best version of Caleb Williams we're probably going to see before he really hits his prime. Next year is going to be totally different. Can't wait.
Yeah, no, I real quick, I agree with him. I think like I said before, he had like with all the turmoil going with three coaches like this season, he still hit 3,500 yards,
Yes.
broke a lot of Chicago Bears records. I think this, if you have a structure and a great structure, he plays on rhythm like Ben Johnson did with Jared Goff, and you get a really good line with him. You get a good running back. That's why I'd say go get Genty with that
Mm-hmm.
10th pick. Like get a good running game because the Bears last year could not run the football. That's another thing. We could not run the football. A lot of the times we'd be like in 3rd and 14, like 3rd and 9, and it's like Caleb, go save us. Like I think if we get a good running game, our offensive line can block. I think this like Caleb Williams could be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He has a potential to be that good, and I
And you
think
know what? One more thing
4K
too.
is definitely a possibility. That's all I gotta say. 4K is a
Ye-
possibility, man.
Yeah, one more thing as well that I think a lot of people aren't talking enough. Like obviously we mentioned his durability. I don't think there was ever one point in the, at least as far as I remember, that when the injury report came out on Wednesday, that I've ever seen him be on that injury report after the numerous hits that he's took. The amount of times we saw him in agony on the sideline. Dude is a warrior, and dude is literally tough as nails. And people that question like his, ability to, you know,
You know how to get
be
down well.
durable. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's adaptable as well. Like the fact that he never once was on the injury report boggles my mind to this day because nothing to shade at Justin Fields or anything like that, but that was something we worried about throughout the entire year. Like we would see Justin Fields on the injury report, but he would still end up playing. He's a strong dude as well. He's very tough as well, but it tends to get injured due to the sacks that he takes and the hits that he takes when he would run off on the sideline. But
But like
And
the
that's
also
why
offense, wait, but the offense was different with Fields. Like
no, I get that. I get that. I'm just saying, like in general, like with his durability and him like having to run more because Caleb ran, but he didn't run as much as Justin Fields did.
well,
Like Justin Fields broke records like when running.
no. Like my thing with that is like Fields back then, like let's be honest, like he had to run. Like that was our offense. He had to run because obviously we had David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert as our running backs, but our receivers are like they were trash. Like 2022, they were garbage. Like Mooney was the only good one, and like he was injured like half the season. And then 2023, yeah, we had DJ Moore, but the line could not protect. And then also like you're saying he got injured, like yeah, I mean he was getting injured because the way running quarterbacks normally in the NFL get more injured than a pass first quarterback like Caleb Williams is. And the offense that Luke Getsy was like putting back then was okay. Fields run first. If you don't see your first read or second read, just run. But Caleb Williams is a lot different. Like he looks to pass, he keeps looking even when he's trying to run. He's like looking to throw it. So and also I think he was on the injury report once. I think I don't remember. But,
I don't remember.
yeah, but he was. But again, that's still crazy though. Like
but that's
yeah.
the thing about when you watch them play this year, you're not gonna get strike lightning in the bottle twice with that type of performance. Like you don't play with like that. Like if you watching that as a coach, it's like your offensive line is not good. But our quarterback is taking 68 sacks and he's not really getting hurt. You cannot play with the offensive line being built around that kid because he is special, but you cannot have the offensive line the way it was last year. Like you would literally destroy this kid that season if you do not do what they're doing right now as far as building an offensive line. That was a special season under the most crazy circumstance I've ever seen from a rookie, and I never want to see that again from Caleb. Like that was cool that you survived it, but going forward, let's not do that again. Please,
Yeah.
he's special.
Exactly.
For sure.
Well,
for sure.
We just hit about 1 hour and 20 minutes of conversations about the Chicago Bears, and I appreciate you, Guy, for taking your time out of your day to come and talk Chicago Bears football with us, and especially on a Friday night as well.
No
problem,
bro.
Thank you. But yeah, for those watching, 125 of you watching from the various areas, appreciate you again for tuning in to us and giving us a part of your day, or time of your day, excuse me. Always remember to like and subscribe if you can, and follow Guy and the CNG podcast. Follow Slashing on SlashingGotNext on his channel as well. And any last remarks, guys?
Hey, whatever we do in the draft, get the best player available. Because at one point I was just like, you know what, I don't want to trade back. I don't want to trade back. But it's like seeing all the mock drafts and everybody talk about, I'm like, man, maybe we can go back. So I just want the best product on the field next season, whether that's the best player at 10 or it's 2 players in the first round that we can get, whether that's a tackle or the edge or the offensive line. I really don't care. Just get the best pieces to your team and just build, man.
Yeah, for me, simple. Just be aggressive for the first time in free agency. Don't go too aggressive, but be aggressive. Get Drew Dahlman or get a good center. I'm not gonna put a name in it. Just put name on it. Just get a good center, and then I think the Bears please draft Genty, bro. If he's available, draft him. If Will Campbell is available at 10, draft him. Get the best player available. And yeah, I mean, if Trey Hendrickson, if the Bears get a good deal for Trey Hendrickson, go for it. I say go for it, man. You got Caleb Williams, who's a very special, talented quarterback on your team for the first time in a very, very, very long time. I say go for it. Maximize his rookie contract because you do want to win Super Bowls when you have a rookie contract. I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl next year, but you want to start competing right now. So it's best to do it when you have a rookie contract with a rookie quarterback. So, I mean, a quarterback with a rookie contract. So, Very simple. Go crazy in offseason, and hopefully we have a better season this upcoming year.
Sounds good. And
well said, bro.
Yeah. I mean, couldn't have said it better myself. But thank you again so much for watching. Always tune in for the next episode of the Sobacksports podcast. Obviously, check these guys out, and we'll see you guys in the next one.